Otherwise, we will have Arman to launch the brochure and the program.
Yes.
No problem.
Sir, we are live.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to the virtual launch of the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability's new program, the B.SC Sustainability Studies. I'm delighted to be joined this evening by our founding Vice Chancellor, Professor C. Rajkumar, the Dean of the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability, Professor Arman Rosenkranz, our distinguished speaker for this event, Dr. Lalanath De Silva, who is the head of the Green Climate Fund's Independent Redress Mechanism, Professor Tanushree Sharma, the Senior Additional Registrar, and our very own Professor Upasana Mahanta, the head of Admissions and Outreach. I'd like to get started today by inviting our Vice Chancellor, Professor C. Rajkumar, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you very much, Siddharth. Very good evening to all of you who are watching this from India. Good morning to our friends from the US, and also good afternoon to others who may be watching this from Europe and other parts of the world. It's indeed my proud privilege to welcome all of you on behalf of OP Jindal Global University and the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability to the launch of this new undergraduate program at the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability entitled Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science Honors in Sustainable Development. There's a lot of history and context and evolution and thinking that has gone to ultimately us deciding in favor of launching this program, which we will talk about in a moment. I also want to extend a warm welcome to our very distinguished speaker and guest of honor, Dr. Lalanath De Silva, who is the head of the Independent Redress Mechanism, Green Climate Fund, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. My deep appreciation and gratitude goes to Professor Dr. Arman Rosenkranz, the Dean of the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability, under whose leadership, vision, and indeed efforts, the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability has already acquired an important reputation in the last couple of years since its establishment. Just as this year, we have decided to launch this new program, I also want to pay particular tribute to the passion, the commitment, and dedication of Professor Arman Rosenkranz to take forward this agenda and indeed launching this program. Congratulations to you, Arman. I also want to extend my deep appreciation to my colleagues, Professor Siddharth Prasad, as well as Professor Ishan, both of whom have made very significant contributions to the school and also this program itself. I'm grateful to my colleague, Professor Dr. Tanushree Sharma and Professor Dr. Upasana Mahanta for being part of this effort and in particular to launch the program itself. Let me take a moment to briefly introduce the university for those of you who may not be familiar with OP Jindal Global University. OP Jindal Global University was founded in the year 2009 with a strong commitment to creating a new imagination for higher education through the philanthropic support and vision of our founding chancellor and benefactor, Mr. Naveen Jindal. The idea of creating a university of this kind was to, in many ways, challenge status quo, but also create a new imagination for private, philanthropic, not-for-profit higher education in India in a multidisciplinary context with strong emphasis on liberal arts, humanities, social sciences, and professional schools. At its founding in the year 2009, on 30th September 2009, to be very precise, the university had one school, 100 students, and 10 faculty members, and nearly 20 administrative staff. We had 4 classrooms and 1 room, and that was the room which had the faculty, the staff, and also the office of the Vice Chancellor, myself. Even those modest beginnings, OP Jindal Global University has grown significantly. Let me briefly interrupt what I was about to say and invite and welcome Dr. Lalanath De Silva, our very distinguished speaker, head of the Independent Redress Mechanism, Green Climate Fund, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, to this launch program of the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability. So as I was beginning to share with you the history and evolution of the university. We were founded in a very modest manner with those 100 students and 10 faculty members and 20 administrative staff in the year 2009. And that was precisely on 30th September 2009. And in the next 3 days, we will be celebrating our 12th anniversary as a university when we will be celebrating our University Day. These 12 years have been remarkable from our early origins to today. We have over 8,000 students, nearly 1,000 full-time faculty members, 12 different schools in law, business, international affairs, public policy, liberal arts, journalism, architecture, banking and finance, environment and sustainability, psychology and counseling, languages and literature, and the most recent school, the Jindal School of Public Health and Human Development. In terms of its broader vision of the university is committed to 3 critical aspects of institution building. First, OP Jindal Global University is committed to internationalization in all its forms and manifestations. Our university has been at the vanguard of promoting internationalization in India and beyond. We have established substantive international collaborations and partnerships with over 325 universities spread across 65 countries in the world. These collaborations have culminated in creating opportunities for our students and our faculty, including promoting student exchange programs, dual degree programs, short-term study abroad programs, inward mobility immersion programs, besides faculty exchanges, joint conferences, joint publications, dual degrees, and many other collaborative endeavors. As a part of our effort to promote internationalization, we have recruited since our beginning faculty members from around the world. And today I'm happy to report that we have over 100 full-time faculty members from 42 different countries in the world who are living and working in Sonipat on campus. Besides this element of internationalization, we have also been able to bring the world to our campus and take our campus, including our students and faculty, to the world with a view to building collaborations and partnerships in a range of organizations. The second aspect of the university is our strong commitment to interdisciplinarity. We strongly believe that universities are expected to be interdisciplinary institutions, and to advance the cause of interdisciplinarity, we have created interdisciplinary pedagogy, also have given opportunities for students to pursue courses across all schools. Every day after 4 p.m. till about 10 p.m. at night, our students have an opportunity, regardless of whichever school or program they are part of, they can take courses across the 12 schools of the university, and we offer every day over 500 cross-listed electives that are opportunities for our students to pursue in different schools. This opportunity to pursue cross-registered courses has given the students a fantastic engagement across different schools, but also to be able to advance their broader interest in a university. The third aspect of the vision of the university is our strong commitment to pursue research, knowledge creation, and publications. Our faculty members in the last 12 years have produced over 3,000 publications, nearly 100 books, all of which have had significant impact on the broader area of policy, law, as well as business and other areas in which the different schools are working. I also want to mention that in our journey of the last 12 years, one of the important initiatives that we've taken is to establish the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability. All of us have been very conscious about the fact that the state of environment is not at its best, and there are numerous challenges which are reflected in the growing deterioration when it comes to the environmental conditions, but also the broader impact on climate itself. Different people have done different things to address the challenge of climate change. Several of our faculty members have pursued research, undertaken projects and initiatives which are also advancing this cause. However, we decided to establish the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability as a premier school for promoting environmental studies with a strong focus on 2 major degrees, The first degree that we ended up offering was a Bachelor of Arts Honors in Environmental Studies. And the degree that we are launching today is the Bachelor of Arts / Bachelor of Science Honors in Sustainable Development. There are numerous aspects of the school and the degree programs itself which are advancing this cause, but I want to quickly mention that the interdisciplinary curriculum, the pedagogical approach towards learning, the qualifications and experience of the faculty have brought together the experiential learning opportunities that are available, the internships opportunities for the students, the collaborations with the partnerships with the universities around the world, all of which create a fantastic experience for students who decide to pursue studies in these fields. I also want to mention that the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability is part of a larger effort to permeate environmental studies across all our schools, including our law school and business school and policy school and international affairs school, all of which have courses that focus on issues surrounding environment and climate change. As I end my reflections today, and as we launch this program, I want to mention that in the last 12 years of the journey of OP Jindal Global University has been truly inspiring and fascinating. A few years ago, we were declared as the #1 private university in India. India has nearly 1,000 universities, and the QS World University Rankings had ranked India. Jindal has India's #1 private university. We were also ranked one of the top 700 universities in the world among the nearly 40,000 universities. And there are only 22 Indian universities among the 1,000 Indian universities which even feature in these global rankings. Just a few days ago, the QS World University Rankings published their graduate employability ratings. And there also, OP Jindal Global University broke into the top 500 universities in the world and ended up being one of only 12 Indian universities and one of only 2 private universities, and the only non-STEM, non-medicine university which has been ranked and become top 500 in the world. In addition to this, the OP Jindal Global University was declared as an institution of eminence by the Government of India, a very significant public policy initiative that was promoted a few years ago with a view to identifying 10 public and 10 private universities, recognizing them as institutions of eminence with a view to propelling them to become truly world-class universities. JGU was declared as an institution of eminence by the Government of India last year, and this has enabled us to create unique opportunities, including innovative programs, and provided us with freedom from various regulatory barriers that at times affect and undermine the process of innovation in academic institutions. With those words, I want to once again congratulate and greet my colleagues at the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability, including its visionary dean, Professor Dr. Arman Rosenkranz, and all his colleagues for launching this program. I am grateful to Dr. Lalanath De Silva, the head of the Independent Redress Mechanism, Green Climate Fund at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, for taking out time from his precious schedule to be part of this virtual launch of the B.SC Honors in Sustainable Development. I can only hope that in the near future, we will have the opportunity to host Dr. De Silva at our campus. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Professor Rajkumar, for your words, for your leadership, and the constant support that you have provided to the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability. I'd now like to invite our Dean, Professor Dr. Arman Rosenkranz, to introduce the new program on sustainable development. Professor Rosenkranz.
Thank you, Siddharth. I want to welcome all of you. I want to acknowledge Rajkumar's extraordinary leadership, and I congratulate myself, not for very much, but for choosing this terrific faculty, which includes Siddharth Prasad and Ishan Chaturvedi. I also want to welcome Upasana, with whom I've begun to work on admissions and outreach, and Tanushree Sharma. Lalanath De Silva is someone I met years ago. He may not remember, but I remember. And I'm very happy that he's agreed to join us and deliver a keynote address today. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about JSES, the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability. As you already know, we have two bachelor programs, a BA in Environmental Policy and a B.SC in Sustainable Studies, Sustainability Studies. So let me also, besides recognizing the degrees that we confer, the extraordinary thing about the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability is that it's the first multidisciplinary science and law program, environmental science and law program in India. So what we want to do with this program is we want to make environmental needs of the 21st century worthy of meeting. We want to, we have a diverse multidisciplinary faculty and students focusing on the natural sciences, the social sciences, and the humanities, as well as the environmental issues in all of those subdisciplines. We welcome all these different perspectives from the natural sciences, social sciences, and humanities. We want to apply scientific methods to organize environmental quality, evaluate and organize environmental quality. We want to make sure that we relate to nature policy and environmental governance and law as they relate to the environment, law and policy. We want to build environmental scholarship and environmental leadership. And we hope that some, or at least of our graduates, will become environmental leaders or environmental scholars. We want to respond to the global and local sustainability challenges, and that's what we expect to do with our new Bachelor of Science in Sustainability Studies. Environmental law and science, the Environmental Law and Science Advocacy Clinic of the Jindal Global Law School feeds into our program, and we work together with them and intend to do so even more in the future. So this collaboration with the very well-established and led Jindal Global Law School, the collaboration will be to both of our institutions' benefits. Finally, I want to summarize the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability, committed to innovative teaching, impact-driven research, policy advocacy, and capacity building. With that, I would like to turn over the microphone and for another voice, which is Siddharth Prasad.
Thank you, Professor Rosenkranz, for those words. We truly are very privileged to have your leadership. What I'd like to do now is take this opportunity to virtually unveil our program brochure, and I'd like to invite our wonderful colleagues from the IT department to help us out with this. Thank you for that wonderful launch to the IT team. I now have the honor of introducing our distinguished speaker for this event, Dr. Lalanath De Silva. I have known Dr. De Silva now for close to 8 years. And throughout this time, he has been a dear mentor and a true role model. He taught me to speak for those whose voices are not heard, against those who wrong, and with those who seek to bring justice. And it's with these ideas close to his heart that Dr. Lalanath De Silva has, for over 3 decades now, tirelessly fought for the sake of the environment and the people most dependent on it. His professional career started in 1982, when he was admitted to the Sri Lankan bar. He practiced
I think
used to fund the former set.
Sorry, please go ahead, Siddharth. There was a bit of an internet issue. You could go ahead. You were starting out with Dr. De Silva's journey. Please go ahead.
Okay, I can start again, not a problem. It's not, we shouldn't miss it. So I was saying that his career started in 1982 when he was admitted to the Sri Lankan bar, and he practiced in a wide variety of areas. And what he did, which I found truly inspirational, was that he used his commercial practice to fund his pro bono human rights and environmental law practice. Then in 1994, he was appointed by the Sri Lankan Ministry of Environment as its first ever legal consultant. And in this post, he drafted much of what modern environmental litigators in Sri Lanka rely on today to fight their cases. Now, having already transformed the scope of environmental law in Sri Lanka, Dr. De Silva headed over in 2002 to Geneva to work for the United Nations Compensation Commission, processing war reparation claims from the first Gulf War that took place in 1991. From 2005 to 2012, he held multiple positions at the World Resources Institute in Washington, D.C., and then at the Asian Development Bank in Manila. And then, in 2016, Dr. De Silva was appointed by the board of the Green Climate Fund, which is the operating entity of the UNFCCC's financial mechanism, to establish and head fund's independent redress mechanism. And this mechanism is widely regarded today as an example of best practice in the field, largely thanks to the vision and leadership of Dr. De Silva. I should also mention that Dr. Lalanath De Silva is also a very distinguished composer and musician, and his colleagues at the Green Climate Fund always look forward to his Christmas performances. So he truly is a remarkable individual, and I am extremely delighted then to be able to invite Dr. Lalanath De Silva and to ask him to deliver this special address today.
Vice Chancellor Professor Raj Kumar, Dean Rosenkranz, faculty and staff of the JGU, students new and old, incoming students and prospective students. Thank you, Siddharth, for your generous and kind introduction. I've known Siddharth, as he said, for quite some time now, both as a student, when he was a student, and later when he came to work as an intern at the Independent Redress Mechanism at the Green Climate Fund. Thank you for those introductory words. Now, it is a great pleasure to be here virtually with you and to deliver this address on this special occasion. I would much have preferred, of course, to be there personally, but hopefully that'll happen in the future. Congratulations and best wishes to JGU and its School of Environment and Sustainability for establishing a new undergraduate program in sustainable development. You are helping humanity meet the greatest need of the hour, and I will explain in a moment why that is so. Professor Rosenkranz, indeed, I remember meeting you many years ago, and I still have your book with me, which you published way back in 1991, and it is well thumbed and with plenty of side notes. You can see that it has served me in my career as I went from different jobs from different countries to serve the interests of the environment. Now, you might think that COVID-19 is the greatest threat facing humanity today. Millions think that, as a matter of fact, because it is visible and it is palpable. Each of us probably knows someone in our family, maybe our circle of friends, maybe from our place of work, who has either caught it, fallen ill and been hospitalized, or perhaps sadly even died. It is here and it is now. However, far more insidious and less visible and palpable a threat and a challenge is climate change. It is an existential threat to humanity. It is here, it will intensify, and in the next 2 decades, by the time that many of you students reach the age of 40, its impacts will be pretty severe. The impacts will be seen in more intense and more frequent hurricanes, tornadoes, cyclones in our part of the world, floods and droughts, vector-borne diseases migrating from one area to another, sea level rise, and impacts on our drainage systems. It is likely to create mass migrations. It is very likely to create significant food insecurities, particularly in the developing world, significant loss of biodiversity and species across the world, both in the temperate and the tropical climates. And on top of climate change, we already have plenty to deal with by way of environmental issues in the form of pollution of our seas, our waterways, our land, and the air. So the question I want to ask today is, why has this happened? And to be very honest with you, the failure has come from my generation and the ones that went before us, my father's generation and my grandfather's generation, in that we have failed to address this issue in a timely fashion. We have been locked, perhaps as a result of short-term decision-making, into economic systems, whether they be capitalist or socialist or communist, that predicate development and growth on the basis of unlimited use of the Earth's resources. But the fact is, the Earth's resources are finite. The planet has its boundaries, and planetary boundaries are close to being crossed. And once crossed, it is very likely that we will not be able to recover and retrieve and get back to the boundaries that have been crossed. So therefore, the burden falls on you, the younger generation, to stop this threat and to reverse it. You are the ones who are going to suffer the most, and your children. But there is hope. Not all is lost. Now, to face these challenges, you will have many positives on your side. The first of them, of course, is technological, scientific, and medical advances. And these are tremendous. We are now in an area in which we are able to tinker around with the genes. We are able to do all kinds of very interesting things, so much so that even with regard to COVID-19, within the year, we were able to come up with several vaccines, and many medications are now in experimental stages. We also have the economic means. Oddly, though we have a divided world between developed and developing countries, the total wealth of the world is sufficient to deal with the crisis that we are facing. And then, as a result, we have many solutions and options available to dealing with this issue, both at the local level, regional level, national level, and international level. But you have to overcome some very serious negatives. What are these? The first, and perhaps the most important, is the lack of political will. Across the world, whether it be in the legislatures, in parliament, in Congress, or in the executive branch, whether it be in the cabinets or in the presidencies or in the government officials or the collectors' offices across India, there is a lack of political will to do anything about this issue. And even if they do something about it, the attempt, the effort is inadequate and not timely. And that is because there are so many entrenched and vested interests that prevent action from being taken, that drive us in the opposite direction to where we should be going. And the fact of the matter is that many of these impacts, whether they be climate change or environmental, other impacts of environmental pollution and so on, fall mostly on the vulnerable populations of the world, on the poor, on women, on children, on marginalized people across the world. They are the ones who bear the biggest costs of this crisis. That is why being in an interdisciplinary program, such as the undergraduate program on sustainable development, becomes critical for you. The climate crisis and similar challenges cannot be solved by one person or one profession or one set of ideas alone. They require teamwork. They require many disciplines. They require many ideas and much creativity to come together in order to find the right solutions. Science, politics, economics, and even the arts and communication all have to come together to solve these challenges. Likewise, people, governments, the private sector, we have all got to come together as partners to meet these challenges. No one of these entities can do it alone. So here's what I have learned as an environmental lawyer over the many decades that have been chipping away at this problem. I was actually a science student in my advanced level. I think you have the A levels and the O levels and so on. You probably are familiar with it. This is at the high school level. You take these exams, and I was a science student. And that taught me some really interesting lessons with regard to physics and the basics of physics and chemistry and so on. And it came in very useful as a lawyer when I went into court later on environmental cases, that it helped me to actually cross-examine and question expert witnesses who might come and be brought to the court on my side or the other side. It gave me an advantage over other lawyers because I could understand the science a little better than they could. Then again, I was able to establish and had the privilege of establishing one of the first public interest law firms anywhere in the developing world, called the Environmental Foundation Limited in Sri Lanka, way back in the 80s. And there we were able to bring together scientists and economists and lawyers. And for the first time in my life, it opened my mind to working with other professionals in finding the solutions that we were called upon to by people who were coming to us with their problems. Understanding concepts of ecosystems, of planetary boundaries, of extended cost-benefit analysis, extended my horizons beyond and broadened my understanding of these issues. I then, at some point in my life, went to the Ministry of Environment and worked for the government for a little while. Working with civil society and industry and government agencies taught me the importance of partnerships, how each partner can push or pull the other in a different direction, and when all should be pulling, in fact, in one direction to solve the crisis. As Siddharth mentioned, at the United Nations Compensation Commission, I was on the environmental team. We processed some $350 billion worth of claims from the countries surrounding Iraq. As you might, you're probably too young to even, you're not going to remember this, but you'll read about it. When Saddam Hussein of Iraq invaded Kuwait, he threw some 200 million barrels of oil in the sea, set fire to some 700 oil wells, which burned for many, many months. And there was a major environmental impact in the area. And that's what we were looking at. Where I was there, I worked very closely with numerous experts in the sciences, in technology, in economics, to fathom how best to assess the damages to the desert ecosystem from this Gulf War, and to design remedial actions. Satellite imagery was very new at the time, but we used it because there was very little evidence on the ground, information from the ground as to the state of the environment of the desert before the war and after the war. And it was satellite imagery that allowed us to find who had done what, where the tanks had gone and destroyed the desert and so on. It was all there visible. Today, satellite imagery, using it in forestry and logging operations and identifying areas, has become commonplace. That's why I said technology is on your side. At the World Resources Institute, I work with civil society groups around the world to promote access to information and public participation and access to justice on environmental matters. Here I learned the power of narratives, that science and logic alone will not convince policymakers and politicians, but powerful narratives will. storytelling. We as human beings are better at remembering stories than we are at remembering data and science. And so that is what politicians and policymakers capitalize on. So we must learn how to develop strong and powerful narratives. At the Asian Development Bank and here at the Green Climate Fund where I work now, I work constantly with experts from other fields and assess harm to people from development projects and find solutions to their problems. So you're on the right path by coming to this university to become problem solvers and perhaps even heroes and heroines who save the planet one day. So my advice to you before I conclude is, firstly, be open-minded. Be open-minded enough to venture into other fields that you might feel uncomfortable in. Thirst for knowledge in any related field, not just in your specialization. You might be an accountant coming here, you might be having a legal background, you might be somebody who has studied the sciences or studied humanities, but come to this with an open mind, with a thirst to learn things from other fields. There's a lot of cross-fertilization of ideas coming from other fields. It's okay to be a generalist in this field to some extent. Expand your network of professionals and contacts beyond your field. Use LinkedIn, get to know people, make your connections from now itself. Learn the power of communications and narrative and harness your left and right brains to be creative, but at the same time logical. So there are two things I think that a great educational institution will teach you. And I hope that's what this university will teach you as well. Firstly, the skill of retrieving information that you need for the problem that you have to face. The ability to retrieve information, the right kind of information, the right place to go to collect that information. That is the first skill you will learn. And the second skill that a good university and education institution will teach you is the ability to collect, select, order, and analyze that information and come to reliable conclusions. You know, in your exams, you will have to study a chapter here and a chapter there, maybe a table here, maybe memorize some laws and rules and all of that. At the end of the day, when you leave as, graduate from the university and go into the world, you probably are not going to remember much of that. But what you will have gained are the two skills of where to retrieve information and how to analyze it. And so take that training seriously and go forth into the world. I wish you all well, and I wish your university and this new program all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. De Silva, for those inspiring words, for sharing your experience with us, and indeed a thank you for everything that you've done throughout your illustrious career for the environment and for those that are most vulnerable. Thank you very much again for joining us. May I now invite Professor Tanushree Sharma, the Senior Additional Registrar, to deliver the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Siddharth. Namaskar and warm greetings to everyone who is tuned into this virtual launch. What a pleasure it is to present the concluding remarks on this occasion. Many congratulations, Professor Rajkumar and Professor Arman, for conceptualizing and initiating this much needed undergraduate degree program in sustainable development at the Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability. Many congratulations to all faculty members, staff, and everyone associated with the school on the launch of this degree program. Many thanks to Dr. Lalana De Silva for sharing with us the nuggets of information and your rich insights. I, and I'm sure others also must have resonated with your thoughts. What particularly struck the chord with me was your emphasizing on the need for everyone to come together, to pull in all possible and creative ideas to evolve sustainable solutions to address the issues related to sustainability. Well, a drastically higher and growing adverse impact on the physical earth can't be denied. And what also can't be denied is the need to face and tackle with great urgency and immediacy its grave consequences, and more importantly, the need to create a sustainability mindset. That's where perhaps education can play a critical role. The positive relationship between society's quest for sustainability and education has long been echoing. Quality education, which happens to be one of the sustainable development goals, is perceived to play a critical role in achieving all the other SDGs by enhancing the knowledge and skills, shaping attitudes, and equipping the future generation with the needed competencies to bring about the much needed transformational change in society. Same sentiments have been expressed by UNESCO as well. Higher education institutions in specific have a key role in the implementation of education for sustainability. Given their reach and influence, higher education institutions can make decisive impact in shaping mentalities and cultivating a sustainability mindset. They can influence local communities and wider societies by serving as models for sustainability and developing and improving the capacity of people to take intelligent, informed decision and demonstrate responsible actions to address sustainability issues. Today, more than ever, higher education institutions are expected to arm their students with the ability to act as change agents. And that's what JGU is fully equipped and empowered to achieve. Through knowledge creation, dissemination, and outreach activities, JGU is perfectly poised to lead the path towards sustainable development. With committed and competent faculty members, a strong focus on innovative pedagogical approach towards achieving the rigorously crafted learning objective and assurance of learning, I'm sure JGU will produce action-oriented, sustainable practitioner and play a key role in adequately addressing the sustainability needs of society. Thank you so much. Over to you, Siddharth.
Thank you, Professor Sharma, for your remarks. And now to conclude the event, may I invite Professor Upasana Mahanta, the Dean of Admissions and Outreach, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. The launch of this BA B.SC Honours in Sustainable Development is a moment of great significance for Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability, as the program offers a unique framework for addressing environmental and developmental challenges in the 21st century with cutting-edge teaching, research, and interdisciplinary experiential practice-based learning. So we are truly very, very grateful to our distinguished speaker for this launch, Dr. Lalanath De Silva. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, gracing this occasion with your presence, and sharing your thoughtful insights and experiences with us. Heartfelt gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar. Your vision, your commitment, and your empathetic leadership inspire us and motivate us to strive for the best. Thank you to Professor Dr. Arman Rosenkranz, Dean, Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability, under whose able guidance the current program took shape. Thank you for always making time for our meetings, for being so patient yet persistent. It has been an absolute privilege to work with you and learn from you. And I look forward to continually learning from you going forward. We are grateful to Professor Ishan Chaturvedi, Professor Siddharth Prasad, and the entire team of faculty and staff at Jindal School of Environment and Sustainability, who have worked relentlessly to put this program together. And thank you, Professor Siddharth, for also excellently anchoring today's launch. I want to express my gratitude to Professor Dr. Tanushri Sharma, Senior Additional Registrar, OP Jindal Global University, for delivering the concluding remarks and for being always there to lend her support. A big thank you to our team at the Admissions and Outreach Office, our IT and Communications team, who have been working behind the scenes to enable a smooth launch of the program. And last but certainly not the least, our deepest gratitude to all of you who have joined us virtually to mark this important moment. We are grateful for your presence, your support, and we look forward to your continued engagement, encouragement towards our new BA B.SC Honours in Sustainable Development. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have come to an end of this program. Thank you all once again.
Thank you.